Hey guys, Tyler here from North Mountain Knives. I'm working on sharpening up this bushcrafty style knife, and I just wanted to give you a couple quick sharpening tips. So, one thing, you see I've got blue painter's tape on here. That is to protect the finish. That's not necessary for someone who has, their own knife or an established knife. You're gonna get nicks and dings and wear on it anyway. But since this is a knife I'm going to sell, I've got this blue painter's tape on here. And when I set the initial edge, I do that on my grinder, and that just chews away the tape and leaves my exposed edge, so that when I go back in and sharpen this knife, I've already got my exposed edge to work on. One thing that people do a lot is just kind of like sharpen, 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 sharpen. The real way you want to sharpen is do one side of the knife. What I've got here that I'm sharpening on now is one of these tri-stones. So I'm using the fine side because that's all I need once I set the initial edge on the grinder. I mean, I could really come off the grinder and be done. Like, I could just be done. But I like to really refine my edge. The other thing is, when you're sharpening, of course, you want to use smooth, consistent pressure. And I know you guys can't see this. I apologize. I'm working in a tight space here. You want to use smooth, consistent pressure and try to do the same number of swipes on each side of the blade. So I think this is number 9 and this is number 10. So then I'll stop and I'm going to wipe this oil off really lightly. But what you're trying to do is raise a burr, and you can feel it. You can see it too if you look under the right light. I'm not going to be able to show it to you guys, but you'll raise up a little bit of a burr, or wire. They call it the wire edge. When you get that little bit of a burr raised, and the better, if you have a bigger burr, that's better. Then you switch to the other side. So you go on one side until you raise that burr. Sorry, it says 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if your edge is catching on your stone, that means you're sharpening with the blade. Like if this is flat and you're sharpening towards yourself, if your edge is catching, then your blade is too high and you need to lower it back down. Because if it's catching, you're actually catching the edge on the stone. So I've got now a decent burr. Feel it all the way down, and you just feel like a little. I mean, it's the metal. When you're sharpening, what happens is you're slowly moving the tip of your edge this way, like a little bit of a really thin metal is moving this way. So you'll be able to feel that on your fingertips. And when you do it the other side, you move it back over this way. So I'm going to do 20 passes on this side, this other side, real quick. So. And then the final step is stropping, and I feel like it's one that a lot of people sharpening their knives at home don't normally do. They just sharpen it until it feels sharp, and they're like, okay, well, it's good. Stropping makes a huge difference in how sharp a knife is, and I'll try to show you in a second here. I think this is 10. I'm trying to talk and count at the same time, so I might not be getting exactly the right. We're on 16, sorry for the dead air. 17, 18, 19, 20. Now, I've got an okay burr. Really good at the tip. Doesn't feel like it's as good down here as it could be. I'm going to do 10 more. One thing that I have a hard time with, and you may too, I don't know, but when I'm sharpening, a lot of times I tend to come off the heel really fast. So as I'm sharpening, I start, obviously start on the stone here, I'll really quickly jump to here, and it's been a long time on that part. So you got to make sure you're getting a nice consistent, so you're getting all of the edge. And you want to try to stay on the flat of the stone. Don't chew the edges of your stone down. Yeah, that's better. So I'm going to do 10 more on this side. Like I said, you always want to try to balance them out. Okay, that's 10 on that side. Now, if I take a piece of paper, which I need to bring more paper down here, and try to cut this, well, let me take my tape off because that'll really interfere with stuff. You see, it's got a really nice machine finish on there. The last thing you want is to drag that across your stone on a bad pass or slip or something and put a big old scratch down the side of your blade. Because at this point, like, I sharpen my knives at the very last thing, so this knife is completely done except for sharpening. So I come in here, you can see it's sort of fighting me. Now I'm not going to do any more sharpening. I'm going to take this, which is a piece of leather that I glued to a piece of wood, and it's got green buffing compound rubbed into it, and I'm just going to work this back and forth. Going backwards. So now, you know, when I'm sharpening, I'm going edge into the stone. I'm now going spine towards the direction of movement. All right, that's probably good, honestly. Probably gonna do a couple more passes on that, but if I come in here on the same piece of paper, see how much difference that makes? So if you just stop after sharpening, you're leaving that little lip on your blade. What you're doing when you strop is actually snapping that off. So, you know, like when you break a piece of wire, you wiggle it back and forth, wiggle it back and forth. By sharpening, that's what you're doing, is taking the tip of that edge and wiggling it back and forth and wiggling it back and forth. When you strop it, that snaps it off, and you're left with a much finer edge than you had before. And this knife, I mean, I'll usually go back in and keep stropping them. I mean, I like to strop them for a good while, because another thing that stropping does is takes your little micro edges and aligns them. So, but I mean, this knife now is like, I mean, it's throwing hairs. It's not just like shaving. It's like, you know, throwing hairs. And like I said, like, you know, super sharp. So there you go. That's a quick little tip. And I just have this stuff on the handle here to protect the handle, because like when I'm sharpening stuff, my hands are getting gunky. And I've already finished the handle, so I don't want to really gunk up the handle and have to do a ton of cleaning. So there you go. This knife is done, and I'm going to clean it up, get those fingerprints off of it and stuff. There, I'll see. This video's already longer than it should be, but I'll go ahead and untape this so you can see what the knife looks like. There it is. It's a little bushcrafty style. It's super thin. I did a super thin contoured handle, so it's pretty light, easy to hold. That's it. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll catch you later.